If you can understand the basic concepts we're about to talk about, this will help you understand what your shoulder injury is, and specifically it'll help you make the treatment choices that you'll be confronted with as we go forward. The shoulder is a very special joint. It's a ball and socket joint, and if you can keep that in mind, you'll understand the large array of problems that can be confronted when a shoulder gets injured. The socket is mostly made of tendon. This is opposed to the hip, which is mostly made of bone, and the reason of the difference is that the hip has to withstand approximately 7 times your body weight as you go up and down stairs. Now, most of us don't walk up and down stairs on our hands, so the shoulder is going to be a very different type of joint, and it is meant primarily for mobility. How we move our hand in space is the function of the shoulder. And in order to do that, we've got a socket that's very mobile, and the socket is made of the rotator cuff tendons. When we say rotator cuff tendons, let's start with tendon. The tendon is the connective tissue that connects all muscles to bone. In the shoulder, we're talking about 4 muscles and their tendons that surround the ball and make the socket, and this is called the rotator cuff. In order to support this socket, there is a hard roof that gives it extra support. And because of that, the socket is in contact with the hard roof. And this contact is normal. And again, I'll say this contact is normal. This is something that is often misunderstood. But because this contact is normal, there's a structure that gives it padding, which we call the bursa. However, contact can become abnormal. When that contact becomes abnormal, the bursa will become inflamed. Inflammation is one of the biggest problems that we'll confront when we look at shoulder problems and the treatment of shoulder problems. Now that you understand the key function and the key structure of the shoulder, let's look at the details of the rotator cuff, and these details will be helpful as we discuss your injury. Again, the ball is really in a special socket, and the socket is made of the rotator cuff. And let's look at those 4 muscles and tendons that we call the rotator cuff. In the front, there's a very powerful muscle. On the top, there's a very important muscle that's commonly injured, and in the back, there's 2 important muscles. And if you think of this is really like a 3-sided box. And the muscle names in the front, the subscapularis, the muscle name in the top is the supraspinatus, and in the back, the 2 muscle names are the infraspinatus and the teres minor. Now, don't get lost in the names of these muscles. They are, as a unit, the rotator cuff muscles and their tendons, and they work as a unit, and that's very important to understand. So I want you to be familiar with where they are and what they do, but don't get lost in the names of these muscles.